Welcome, everybody, to Week 7 of the 2025 season of the Dolphins Make Me Cry podcast. And some days I feel like I don't have words. Other days I feel like I have a lot of words. Today I feel like both. The Dolphins falling to 1-5 on the season with their brutal 29-27 loss against the Los Angeles Chargers at home in a very interesting game. And boy, when you're bad, you find ways to lose, and you also find ways to do the bad things that you do on a consistent basis over and over and over again. And that was, again, the microcosm of this game. We'll break it down a little bit here. You know, Dolphins come out, first play, Tua Tagovailoa, right in Jalen Waddle's hands, bounces off of Waddle's hands, intercepted, and the crowd is booing and out of the game. And the interesting part about it, yes, that one's on Waddle, has to catch it. Again, he's not a number one, probably never will be. And we're going to get into Waddle and trade rumors. But good receiver, not great receiver. When you actually watch the play, Tua gets pressure because Savanaya lets his blocker bull rush into him. Tua double pumps. Now, it wasn't Tua's fault, right in Waddle's hands, but it's just that whole microcosm of what is wrong with the team. The trenches, I mean, we can beat the dead horse all we want. The O-line and the D-line are not physical and they're not good. They're probably ranked, their defense is ranked 30th. Rush defense, I think, is either 30th or 32nd. Their O-line, very lowly ranked as well. And just a child could see them getting pushed around on the ball. It's just really what it boils down to, and it's what is killing this team. And what's crazy is, to their credit, they do a lot of other good things that if you actually broke down these games, should have won this Charger game, should have won the Panther game, obviously with a 17-point lead. You know, the Bills game, okay, you were tied, fine. Could have won it. I wouldn't say should have won it. Patriots game. And we could be talking about so many different things with this team. Now, would the problems still be there? And would a record of, 3 and, what would they be, 3-3 or 2-4 or 4-2, would it change the problems? No, it wouldn't. It would put a Band-Aid on it a little bit. You'd feel a little bit better about it. But the bottom line is the problems are the problems are the problems. So let's fast forward. They're playing a fairly decent game. The defense is not killing them. They actually made a couple of stops in the run defense, not many, a few. And they have a small lead at the half. And then the third quarter, the Chargers just own them. Absolutely own them. And then the Chargers go up, 26, I believe it's 26-15. They go up by 2 scores. And the Dolphins, to their credit and to Tua's credit, they roar back and they get themselves to a 27-26 lead. And here's what just drives you nuts. Now, I'm going to go over 3 key things in losing, and this is, again, what bad teams do. Now, the first one, I'm going to give them a little bit of a pass. You're driving down to have the go-ahead score, which you end up getting, and they throw a sideline route, which Malik Washington goes out of bounds, which stops the clock. Very, very big, because after next play you score, you're kicking off with 46 seconds left. Now, 46 seconds is not a lot of time, but it is a lot of time. It's a lot of time in this regard. Number one, our special teams has been better. Now, it was dog shit last year and the year before, so I guess better is, somewhat better than that. But it's always at inopportune moments. They have not mastered this new kickoff dirty ball scenario to get a team pinned in that 20 to 25 range. Instead, they give up a return to the 40. So now you give Herbert the ball at the 40 with 46 seconds. First play, great pressure, incomplete. Second play, Jalen Phillips in the grasp, has Herbert, And I talked a lot about optics last week. And this was that optical moment where in one play and in one game, you can see a coach, a quarterback, a regime that was built going back, we're going to go 2019, 2020 draft. That was, you take Tua over Herbert. And in that moment, Herbert, big, strong, 6 foot, whatever he is, 6'6", whatever he is, gets out of the grasp of Jalen Phillips and then throws a pass that should have been a routine stop. You keep the receiver in bounds, runs the clock, and we're talking about maybe one more play and a crazy deep field goal, even though they have a very good field goal kicker, to instead wide receiver flying down the sideline against a rookie corner who basically just misplayed it. So the optics of all of this, it's like these puzzle pieces together as to why you are where you are. Now, again, are the Chargers in the greatest shakes? Have they won a Super Bowl? Are they going to win a Super Bowl? Probably not. But if I'm looking at the overall, what happened in 2020, and now we're in 2025, moving forward, Herbert has a much better upside and a much better trajectory than Tua does. With his franchise versus Tua with our franchise. And just in general. And then bang, easy chip shot field goal. Dolphins lose 29-27. And being there, being a season ticket holder who's been to well over 100 plus games over 20 something years, I was just livid, beyond livid. There's a part of you like watching. I wanted all of this in context, right? This is football, right? This is not, we're not curing cancer. This is not, business. This is football. So again, in the context of football, I want to keep that just to be clear. You just feel like dead inside as a Dolphin fan. Because it's that game, that loss, this season, this regime, the tank job of 20. There's so many things that are just starting to pile up that I was just livid and lost it. Recording a video, flipping out about Stephen Ross. I saw Stephen Ross in the 72 Club in the tunnel, and see Marino, and you see all these 72 Club fans, and God bless them, there's some really good ones in there, but the hardcore fans are not in the 72 Club. Not that we need to have that debate. There's some. I'm one of them. And I'm just digested, man. I'm walking through there. People are drinking, having a good time after the game. And I'm just like, fuck this, man. We're 1-5. 1-5. Off of a tank job, watching the opposing quarterback you could have had, the coach you should have had, and the owner didn't want to pull him from his alma mater in Michigan, but he won't go the extra mile before he goes to the Chargers. Could have been your coach. And now we're literally sitting here in no man's land, circling the drain. And what makes it worse is if you think, Dolphin fans, that you've hit rock bottom, we're not even a quarter to rock bottom. We're not even close to rock bottom. It's going to come, you'd assume this year, but we got 11 games to go. Rock bottom, I mean, it can get a lot worse, my friends, and it's probably going to. And then on top of it, look, you can fire McDaniel. I want to fire McDaniel. He won't be here next year. Greer probably will. He's already scouting quarterbacks. But, and again, it's nothing personal. I like Mike McDaniel. I think he's a nice dude. He's a great story. A recovered alcoholic. God bless him. You want this guy to succeed. I'll give him credit for 2023. I'll give him credit for doing things that we hadn't done. In fairness, had more talent than any other coach, but be that as it may, he did some good things. I'm not going to sit here and be the guy who said he didn't. But at this point, like, what are we doing? Now, on the flip side of that is, I get it. If you fire him tomorrow, what does it fix? Nothing. It fixed absolutely zero, because Weaver, who I think is a good coach and is being hamstrung, his defense is ranked 30th. So what are we going to do? We're going to go elevate him? No, we're not. But it's just unfathomable to be where we're at. And then, there's more. There's more. On top of all of it, the ice cream on the Sunday as I'm driving home, watching Tua, you're 1-5. You have all this circling bullshit, and then Tua's got to come out with no self-awareness, not being a leader, becoming highly unlikable, where he used to be crazy likable based on his story. And you can look at it two ways. He called out his teammates, saying teammates were not showing up for voluntary film sessions, team meetings, and that leadership needed to do something about it. And then backtracks on Wednesday saying how he shouldn't have done it in that forum. Now, you've heard every pundit this week say, yeah, he shouldn't call out guys on his team in the media. There's some code there. There's man code. There's team code. We should keep it in-house, which I 1,000% agree. As much as like we all are salacious and want to know, a good team doesn't let you know. So for the sheer fact of me wanting to be a good team, I don't want to know. Nobody should know. But the problem is when you're a dysfunctional organization, there's leaks in the boat, and this organization has had more leaks than the Titanic has over the last 25 years. He says that. Then he apologizes. He played we'll say a good game, 3 interceptions, 2 of which are not really his fault. Brought them back. They didn't lose the last 2 games because of Tua per se. Clearly it's the defense. But, bro, can you just be a leader? Like, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, guys who, like, I hate because they're Bills and Patriots, like, but I got to respect them and like them and wish I had them from a physical talent perspective, from a leadership perspective, from saying the right thing and not saying the wrong thing and giving little to no information about what the inner workings and the issues are on a team. Like, can you just stop, bro? Can you be a leader? Because the question is, and in fairness to Tua, maybe he did this behind closed doors. If people didn't show up, the real question is, did you confront them privately? And what did that look like? Or did you just, like a little bitch, go run to the media and do it? That's, to me, the $1 million question. Because I'll give you a little bit of the benefit of the doubt if you're going to throw it out there, if you actually got in somebody's face. But if you didn't, then this takes a whole nother turn. Now, he apologized, we move on. And again, words, these things, do they win and lose games? No. But they're part of the dysfunctional culture that is a trickle down to how you play on the field. So it's a piece of a dysfunctional puzzle. Long story short. And now, because of all of this nonsense, this has turned into now trade rumor central. Now, going into this game, and as I'm sitting at this game, I'm literally just saying, like, you have to rip the Band-Aid off. The problem is the organization, we don't know what the plan is. There's one man's vision, Stephen Ross, who clearly likes McDaniel. He gave him a stupid contract extension, which celebrated mediocrity off of being 11-6 and blowing the division and getting killed in a playoff game. He extended him 2 years. Now, does money matter to him? No. He'll pay him off, don't matter. Pride does, however, and he wants to believe in him. And I'll even give him the benefit of the doubt to not always listen to the fans and the media and the flying banners that are going on around the stadium, which, I mean, the whole thing is just such a complete disastrous joke to be functioning like this. And he's given him time. He's, there's been leaks, again, back to leaks, about what he will do, what he won't do. And I don't think he's getting fired. I mean, I've said it the whole year. I'm going to stick to it. I'm going by week, and I'm going if they're like 1, 2, or 3 wins and just completely out of it, which could be this week at 1-6. I mean, let's face facts. At 1-5, you're really out of it. But in fairness, they've had some back end parts of years. Last year they were 2-6. Obviously, they got themselves to win a game of the playoffs. 2021 with Flores, going 0-7 and bouncing back, and they've had their bounce backs. But the bigger issue to me is it's just the way you play. Like you look at every one of these games, they're the same game. Like the offense of the other team says, we don't care who our terrible running back is. You're getting ran over by like second and third string running backs and by second backup O-lines. Like it's that bad. I looked up stats. The 2007 Dolphins, who were 1-15, essentially are giving up the same amount of yards as the 2025 Dolphins. And what's really sad about that is I actually, from watching the games, if I took out a couple of blowouts that the Dolphins in 07 had, particularly the Patriots game, they lost like 48-20. Defensively, for the bulk of that year, I think they were better than this team because they actually had some high points and they also had a ton of injuries. This team, which was wild, have they had injuries? Yeah. Have they been to a ridiculous degree? No. Particularly on defense. And I'm going on now again. I'm going to take out camp. I'm going to go off of like the opening day roster. You lost Storm Duck. Big loss. Questionable for this week. Hope he comes back. But I mean, you're not. And Dotson had a concussion. He was out last week. He's going to play. But if you break it all down, it's not like they got 75 guys on IR on defense. This is the defense you brought into the year, which makes it even worse. It is just, there's so many things to it. And then it just becomes, it takes you to this game. 1-5 Cleveland, 1-5 Dolphins. And what is that going to mean for the other team? Because whoever loses, I mean, you're going to be selling parts off left and right. Now, let's talk about that for a minute. Lots of rumors this week, which a lot of these rumors were trades. They're just basically some idiot who comes up with, hey, the Dolphins are 1-5. They're probably going to go trade, Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. Yeah, no kidding, because they're on 1-year deals. Like that doesn't take a genius to come up with. You can call me Adam Schefter, and I could have told you that. So you got Chubb, you got Phillips, who are probably going to get traded. And then Waddle pops up, A-Chain. Look, at the end of the day, you got to tell me the plan before you tell me what the moves are. If you tell me the plan is to get a legitimate football, guru to run the organization, and you're going to get draft picks out of this, anybody to me is on the table that's under or over the first rookie contract. And that's a lot of people. Waddle, I'm a little torn about it. But I mean, if you gave me a 2 and a 4 for this year, I'd probably do it. The thing with Waddle, you could look at it the other side. You could say he's a building block for the next coach, and his cap number is actually pretty low next year. It's only $11 million. A-Chain, great talent. And again, I'm not giving him away for a third, fourth, or fifth. If you want him, you give me a second. So look, they got to play hardball. I'm not saying to go, just ravage his team and take 5th-round picks. But, the bottom line is it's just this roster and this team, they're not a winning team. So for us as fans to sit here and want to hold on to the 5 guys with talent, it's not worth it, again, barring what you're getting. And again, me believing that the next regime that will get the picks will get more of them right than Chris Grier did in totality. Has he gotten some picks right? Of course he has. Do teams miss a lot more than they hit? Yes. But when you look at the rebuild era, right? The 5-year era, clearly there's a nucleus of guys who've contributed. But there's been a lot of misses that have not contributed. And also a lot of guys you hit, you didn't re-sign. And that's where we are from a personnel perspective at this point with the Miami Dolphins. Now, bringing us to this Browns game. You're playing a team that's a mirror of you, dysfunctional. The only probably two biggest differences is you actually have a quarterback who's a good quarterback, where they have a rookie. They've had 19 quarterbacks on this roster. They're trading Joe Flacco. There's so many things to them. The Browns have been, I guess they've been more dysfunctional than you, clearly, over the last 20 years. It's amazing anybody has. And you got a rookie quarterback, and you have a team with a pretty good defense, and you got a lot of weather elements going into this game. And you just wonder, what's the psyche of this team? There's no identity. You don't know what they are, who they are. And do you believe Tua is going to be able to, pull them out of the doldrums? I think he will in moments like he did last week. But at the end of the day, he can't do it himself. He just can't. He's not that guy. And frankly, most aren't that guy. But this is going to be a very, very interesting and probably boring game with basically 2 bad teams, which it sucks to say your team's a bad team, but we got to be real here. So that being said, as we check the most updated line for this week, Steve Gio's Miami Dolphins pick in the league where they play for pay. Dolphins at Browns, 1 o'clock. Crazy weather expected, 50 to 60 mile an hour winds, rain all day. Lord knows we play well in those elements. Can't wait for that. The Dolphins they went from a 4.5-point underdog against the Browns to a 2.5. So maybe some people are feeling a little bit better about the Dolphins. The over-under is 36 because both teams suck and because of the weather. So my prediction. Going into this actual prediction, I don't even think I predicted it in my head yet, so I'm going to do it completely on the fly. I really hate to not pick the Dolphins in a game where you're playing a bad team like you are with a rookie quarterback with a good defense and literally 0 offense when you have a bad defense and actually a little bit of offense. We'll say above average offense. But here's going to be my on-the-fly prediction. I actually think the Dolphins are going to win this game. I'm going to go with a 20-13, so take the under on that 36, which makes this a really boring game. And I think the defense will make a couple of plays against a rookie quarterback. I think they'll actually stop the run to a degree. I don't know how or why I'm saying that, but to a degree. And I think Tua will do a couple of things. There'll be a couple of blown coverages, Waddle, Waller. I think they'll get Ollie Gordon moving in this game, and they'll probably realize at some point we need to actually run the ball, and this will be a check down fest with the weather. Then the question becomes winning the game and going to 2-5. What are the moves that are going to happen as we get closer to Atlanta next week and as we get closer to the trade deadline? So let's go with that. 20-13 Dolphins. Let's go Fins. Can we get some positivity? Can we get some momentum? Can we actually win a game that we're supposed to win? Back like we used to when we were beating bad teams. We will see this week. Let's go Fins. We head to Atlanta versus the Falcons.